What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here today, and today I have the opportunity to interview Mike Daverin. Is a player from BCS Rosemont that made it to top 4. You want to say hi, Mike?
What's up, everyone, to the audience of Commander Jaime. I'm happy to be here, and I'm lucky to be here.
Like, congrats on getting top 4. How do you feel?
Ooh, it was that was incredible to actually make it top 8, top 4. If one of the clan that started me in Vanguard, I learned how to play with Gear Chronicle. I got back into the game after my decks got stolen. A friend of mine bought me back into Gear Chronicle.
Ooh, that's rough.
And then I've been a Gear Chronicle fanboy and main for the longest. And I still dabble in other decks, but Gear Chronicle is my home and my main. Like, Aqua Force is yours.
That's awesome. Yeah, it has a special place in your heart, essentially. Oh, that's really good. It's a really good feeling. Yeah. I was gonna say, let's get to know you a little bit better. So, where are you from exactly? Like, do you have any communities or locals that you play at?
I play at Card Fighters Underground. I live around Midway Airport area, so I'm in Chicago.
Gotcha.
I met a few friends in college. They took me to Underground. They were like, "Oh, hey, there's this card shop that we go to, and here's the game that we play." And then, the rest was history. The Underground community is pretty awesome, and we got players like Heaven Show. We got Caesar Ruiz, who just stopped for V Premium, actually. And me and him are going to do a mat trade because I want the Maiden mat and he wants the Keter mat. So, like,
that works out.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, it does. It really does. It's pretty awesome to know that I have such a good community. My buddy Compound, my buddy Anthony Tolbert, who you know.
Yep.
Just a lot of awesome people that we have. Some people that I'd like to, bring back into the game, but also he'd still play if I brought a Grand Blue deck to him. So I'm like, I still want to play. It's fun to dabble. It's fun to deck build, and honestly, you'll see that later, won't you?
Yeah, definitely. So that's awesome that you come from Card Fighters Underground. It's a really good community. A lot of players that I've met and known over the years too. So really good place to be, and appreciate the locals that we do have access to. Some people don't have locals.
Yeah.
So for the event, how did you prepare? Like, what was your mindset going into the event?
Oh, I watched, like, I feel like I was less prepared than every other player there, because I didn't really go do, like, studying of, oh, here's what I'm going to see, like Grand Blue Murakami and all that. But it was more, how do I know my deck? And I know my combos front, back, and, I know front ways, backwards, sideways. And honestly, that's the preparation that ended up showing and playing, because I kind of, like, in my opinion, I didn't really have to heavily think, except for like 2 games of Swiss and the last game that I played which we'll get to later.
Gotcha. So you focus more on the deck yourself, and because of Gear Chronicle, you just did what you as Gear Chronicle does best, right?
Yeah, I do. I did what Gear Chronicle does: travel time and beat face.
So I mean, that's preparation too, because you got to know your go-to plays, and you got to know the combos. And I think Gear Chronicle is in a place where it can deal with a lot of matchups the same way. Maybe some switch variances, but if you already know that, then it takes less effort to think about it in the moment, kind of thing. So that makes a lot of sense. Which leads me to kind of go into your deck more. So I have your deck log now on the screen. So what are some things that you wanted to point out about your deck list? I noticed that it's a lot more Steam Maiden focused. So anywhere you want to elaborate, feel free to start.
Okay, so I'll actually just kind of fix a little bit. One of the local underground people ended up throwing this up on the Vanguardians Facebook, and I was like, I want it. I had money to burn, so I was like, give me this card, I'll pay it back. And now it just kind of found a home in this deck because it is a top 4 deck.
Yeah.
But I'll actually, flexing aside, right? I'll draw attention to Karunta.
Sure.
This is someone that I had originally at 3 for Naboo being at 4, but he ended up going up to 4 because I preferred having control over my board and my opponent's board.
I see.
And with the matchups that I had, DI was there, but Murakami was also there, and I could take away, this great, I believe it's Thunderbreak or whatever, the grade 1.
The Demolition Dragon?
Just says, the one who says, on hit, draw 1 for free. And I'm just like, I wish Gear Chronicle could do that, but hey. It ends up pulling it into a grade 2. It ends up pulling into a lot of plays as well. Kalishma, you could call it off Time Leap and everything else, to where it's like, oh, hey, I can pull up the other column and just manage to pull it off. I've seen the lists in Japan who run the ride down tactic even still. And honestly, for the 2 main matchups that I was like, I die if I go into this matchup, I figured that instead of ride down, I could take the advantage of 2 force gifts if I go first. Also having the Heterohound defense and
it's
the
really
ultimate control that Chronojet does have with his on-stride ability of bottom decking any unit he chooses on the opponent's side of the board for just 1 counterblast. This actually pulled a few games itself because Lost Stage is now on hit. He always pops off, but Chronojet can control things in his own right.
Yeah.
And then I remember there was a time where I was, I love the fact that they updated these.
Yes, the crit triggers.
The SP is like $60 now, and I'm just like, man, these early adoption bonuses are very nice. I know the OG jet that I have, I bought when before V hit. I think when V was like really getting into swing of things, I ended up buying my extra 3 SPs because I pulled the one from the half case that I bought from Underground. $3, $3.30, and $3.50. And now I'm laughing in Gear Chronicle when I see, oh no, they're $180 now, and I'm like,
Pick them up when you pick them up.
Yeah, you gotta love that. Also, the nice, beautiful full arts that I wish they would bring back. They never did it.
Cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually, Harmonix Messiah being printed and errated. Bushy, why didn't you give us this as a box topper as a common? Because it's literally a staple to hop into premium. Like, thanks, Bushy, for doing arguably the worst thing you could have done by making it 2 of or 3 of per case.
Yeah, I know. But that's its own topic.
Oh, absolutely. We could go all day. I'd also like to highlight Grok Rock because I've seen video after video being like, oh, this is the bridge of G to V and such.
Yeah.
And I love it in this deck. The one of does so much work because you're able to, hey, I want my maiden ride. And then theoretically I rode Chrono J, got 2 gifts, and then I'm going to get another one because I ride the maiden. And then I have Uluru already sitting on those markers, and it just builds up very quickly.
Yes.
I love this card. It's beautifully done. I wish it wasn't bind 4 though. 3 preferably, but you know, I see that we can't be too overpowered, but I mean, I got 4th place, so
so it worked out.
It did work out. The only G guards that I didn't really go into was small Uluru. This is good utility. It's recirculation.
Right.
Put over trigger back in deck and other unit, or heal trigger, either one. And I don't think I went into Rafana. One of my games got my opponent resigned. Just said, "Hey, no more. I'm good."
No more.
I would have actually. So he ran out of heals in his deck, and that was his last turn to like push me. And it was the Nubatama Dominate matchup, and I'm like,
gotcha.
Your Chronicle does this on a daily basis, but I do like it was the combined with anything you call you can't guard with next. So,
Mizukaze. Yeah.
Yeah, that card could have wrecked me if I wasn't playing so resiliently.
Oh yeah, because you technically would call the TikTok, which is grade 0. Yeah.
But I had already called grade 0. I think I called a Heart Bump Worker to guard first, and then I was like, okay, I can just guard normally. I think I called a grade 2. I think it was Karunta, honestly. But I called a grade 2 Karunta, and I called my Quick, which fizzled.
Yep.
So it didn't register the grade 0, which was nice.
Yeah.
And then we still have to give it up for Heterohound. I wish that Gear Chronicle with a generic Denial Griffin. But it does not seem to be happening yet.
No, I think this is going to be locked behind Chronojet, which is not a bad thing right now because...
Yeah, well, I know. That's true. Yeah, Chronojet, and then we have the grade 2 Ride Fixer coming out in December, I believe, for tournaments.
That's going to be really good.
That's going to be gorgeous.
Also,
the final thing.
Oh, yeah, go for it. I'll let you finish with that.
The red OT instead of the dark states. I figured that my main play is Shlishmo or Heart or History build. So I will always have something standing in the front row for this to take advantage of. And it actually happened in one of the matches, but it was against EI, and then he called the G guard, and well, there goes my crit. So didn't really get that impactful.
Gotcha.
That's pretty much everything I got on my end. I used each and every single card in my deck. Except for like I said, maybe the Rafana and the small Uluru.
Yeah.
But yeah, I even strode into Harmonics.
You did? So, against what?
Yeah, I did. So what had happened was I was fighting round 2 Grand Blue. And it wasn't that they tried to damage deny me. I just had one face down damage. I believe it was... No, I had 2 face down damage. And I take damage, and it's my OT, and I'm like, oh, cool, I get no damage this turn. Well, I can't... I didn't have the play to go into his build... And I had no counterblast, and I believe I had already done Chronojet things, so this was already out of my G zone. So I'm like, there's no real good play here because Shlishma needs Maiden Vanguard to be fully effective. And so I ended up just striding into Harmonics, and it was the perfect play because I drew Bombard Hog off the draw off of this. And I got 2 face-up damage to just mess around with. It was great.
So wait, is the wording that... How's the wording? Because you took a damage, but you healed? Or you didn't take a damage at all?
I didn't take a damage because the OT never hits damage.
Oh, is that how that works?
If no cards are put into your damage zone the previous turn.
Yeah.
So we have... When this unit is placed, or at the beginning of turn, if your damage zone has 2 or less cards and no new cards were put into your damage during your opponent's preceding turn.
All right, because technically it goes to the trigger zone first. I see.
Yep.
That's a good point. Wow, I didn't even realize about that. So that's a very unique scenario Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was. It happened a few times where my OT was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to help you defend yourself, but also keep your damage low. And I'm like, all right. And then
Exactly.
Bearlock in English needed to happen because
Yeah,
I
you
had
finally
been
got
waiting
it.
for this card. I love
Yep.
this card so much. The freest of free, especially in a maiden deck.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say you're still playing the one Entrana. So how did that work out? Did you see it mostly or only once in a while?
So a lot of the time it fell into my hand, and I'm like,
wow, that's really convenient.
There might have been 2 times that I actually laid it down and got the fullness of the ability. But there were other times where I'm like, I wish I could just call this out with Karunta. Because I'm stealing a grade 1 from their board, so I may as well just grab Enterana, pull the combo, and pull a board. But alas, it is at 1, and it makes me sad. I understand all the hate that this card gets.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna be selfish. If you don't want to ban other good cards, don't ban mine.
I mean that's a Bushiroad decision at that point with design choice, but. So do you actually prioritize in like time leaping into it, like with TikTok or any of your other cards?
No.
Or if it just shows up in your hand, you just do it?
If it shows up, it shows up. If not, it is what it is. Surprisingly, it didn't really get used all that much to make columns or do its bind shenanigans. I mean, there were a few games that it did. But like, you can still do everything you want to do and more with Karunta, because you can find Gearcat trading a trigger, or you can find your grade 2 by trading in. Like, this is essentially, hey, fix your board, just like this is fix your board.
Right.
As soon as you're in strides.
Yeah. Okay. So I see. Because you played the 4 Karunta, it kind of worked out as a non-Tronana in other cases anyway. Okay. And you played it as more like, it's a nice to have, but it's not necessarily my priority. Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
Pretty much.
Cool. And so, when I see Gear Chronicle too, I see like so many different variants. There's like Steam Jet or Jet Right Up, however you want to call it. Why did you pick like the more Steam focus? Or there's Crash Jet too as well.
Yeah, Crash Jet is, I believe it was playing a table away from me, honestly. Crash Jet isn't that reliable just yet, because if you don't hit your crest, you literally have to struggle to fit. You have to struggle to push back, because the crest is really what makes that deck so ungodly powerful.
Yeah.
I didn't run pure maidens because Inglissa is banned and there are ride downs.
Right.
Or the ride down strategy isn't as prevalent anymore, which is again why I chose my big boy here.
Right.
And then I know you saw my Chrono Fang deck. Unfortunately, the immense multi-attack potential of this deck that did actually see a few Hanalies played against it. As we can see, I took forth. Hanali is nothing to be afraid of.
Gotcha. So whenever you saw Hanali, you basically were capped at those 5 attacks, but you were still able to manage through those turns, essentially.
Absolutely.
Is that one that happened?
One time Hanali came, and I believe I had some grade 1s and 2s on the board. And I'm like, okay, I'll just stride into History Maker. I actually had 2 copies of Boo in my deck, and I'm like, so I can just time leap 2 after the Lost Age Double Force, and then I can time leap 2 into these. And so I literally made 1 attack with Rearguard with Vanguard, and then 2 Nabus go in for 4. And it was, I bound 4 cards because Nabu. Both Nabus bound from drop, and then their timely target left from get stuck in the bind zone because I can't return Nabu back to the deck.
Yep.
So I literally drew 5 cards because drive checks and +2 soul, and like it was like Hanali isn't anything to be afraid of. Honestly, there was the Grand Blue matchup in round 5, 6. And this is when I pull out my phone because I wrote down everything.
Yeah, you can start diving into your matchups too. Because it makes sense with Nabu to get advantage. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Round 5 Grand Blue actually had the Hanali in drop zone, so I'm like, I know there's the combo that you can call it out.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I had 3 face-up damage, and I asked him, because he just took, why didn't you pull it out? Because I had 1 more free battle after 3rd that wouldn't slow me down. So I'm getting 2 more attacks regardless. I fought Bermuda Triangle. I thought I was going to fight Willista Loop. It turns out it was Loris, and I was very pleasantly surprised. A lot of the first few rounds, I didn't really see any danger to myself in play. Because like the first round was Aqua Force, and I fight Tolber on like a near weekly basis. So I'm like, you're fine.
You already know the matchup.
What you're doing. Like, I already know that matchup hands down. Grand Blue couldn't find a Night Rose, and I believe they went first. So they didn't ride up, and I was like, all right, cool. I can still play my game. And I ended up going on grade 2 camp because I'd rather deal with the Night Rose, and then they ended up riding to Beatrice, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll get first stride and keep going. Bermuda Loris, Nubatama Dominate, Grand Blue was round 5, and that one was just mentioning with the Hanali from drop play that they didn't do, and then I fought DI at 202. They couldn't get 20 in the soul. That was their win con. They just didn't find 20 cards in their soul. And so I ended up pushing past with either it was game 1 of Top Cut or this one where it was Top Cut. I don't remember how I beat the DI, but I kept just swinging, and
you just kept doing your thing.
I just kept doing Gear Chronicle things, right?
Yep.
And then Ty Tanish, who he was the only person I lost to in Swiss. With
Ty Smith, right? With Norakami. Yep. Yeah, I remember he went undefeated. Yeah.
Yep, he was the one who went undefeated, and I was the only undefeated before that round with him. So I'm like,
gotcha.
Oh, geez, man.
Oh, wow.
It was insane, dude. When I sat down at 201 top table, it became real like, oh no, you could win this. And I stayed up there. Like I believe it was the Nubatama I think it was the Nubatama matchup where I sat at 201, and then Grand Blue I sat at 201. DI I sat at 202. I'm like, they moved me. And then once you're in top 8, once you're the only 2 undefeateds left, it's like me and Ty were like, this game doesn't matter. It just we're here.
Yep.
What is it? Sweet Man that gives power +10 to the front row per open front row circle that you're
exterminate. Has. Yep, exterminate. It's strong, man.
It's so gross. And then I had already learned to basically let our Tommy have first stride, essentially, because in their ride up tactic, you have who's the limited stride?
Which one?
Stunverse? Yeah. Stunverse can
limited
be strode
strike,
first.
Stunverse.
Yeah. Stunverse can be strode first, and then he'll de-stride himself, and then you can still main phase stride into get 2 Excel gifts. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't need you to have that much advantage. I will stay here at 2. You can go to 3. You have fun on that. Like the lesser of 2 evils in a sense.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I can see that.
Mm.
So then once that was done, how was your top 8 matches?
Well, I pressured the first Murakami player to 4, and he couldn't really push back. Honestly, a lot of them were if I can handle the first sweep command, was it?
No, exterminate.
If I could handle the exterminate first stride, I can push back and win.
Gotcha.
Because I usually try to keep my damage low because I know exterminate is going to be a massive pain in the butt.
Yep.
And he will hit me harder than my deck could hit myself, right?
Yep.
So essentially it was survive, exterminate, and then go for game. And honestly, I was... Okay, so the game 2 of fighting against Murakami, I knew that he had 1 heal in his hand.
Okay.
And I went for Schlishma and did all my stuff.
Yep.
And I swing with Nabu first. And I'm like, I have 3 regards, you have more. Advanced guard cannot take 2.
Okay.
He G guards twice.
Yes. Yeah. Double impede.
It was
impede dragon, right?
Impede, the G guard that says I'm just gonna actively choose which one to bind. And I'm like, like my friend who was watching, the color drained from your face when you saw the second one, and I'm like,
yeah, when they have 2 heals, they do double impede on the right time.
Yeah, especially against a Steam Maiden, especially against Lishma, right? No matter how I played that turn, it wasn't going good for me. Unless I went to like history build, which, you win some, you lose some, essentially. Because I could have been like, okay, cool, I can also reorganize my board, get 1 attack.
Was it impede or was it Borak? Do you remember?
It was impede. The one who.
Okay, so it wasn't double.
It's the GBG guard.
Yes. Then it is double impede. Yep.
Yeah, impede is. Impede to 1 Bushy. Just let that one happen, please, dude. Don't. I don't need another double impede, dude.
Yeah, it's rough with your deck because you're a 4 stack, so you only have so many circles to mess with.
Exactly. And then the final game, I was doing Gear Chronicle things again, and he's at 4. I'm pushing for game because my OT stops turn. Man hits critical trigger damage 5, heal trigger damage 6.
So he
heal trigger damage 7. And
so he healed twice too.
He healed twice
in a row.
It was utterly disgusting to just
plus 30k to the Vanguard, basically. Wow.
It wasn't even plus 30k, dude. I had game twice. He took 3 damage.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. 3 triggers to plus 30k. Yep.
So disgusting.
Gotcha. And that was when you were playing for 3rd, right?
Yep, that was the 3rd game.
Oh, wow. So close. No, I gotcha. That's definitely Vanguard sometimes with like double heals.
I know, yeah. So here's the thing, though. Like I remember floating around with the video that you sent me. Yeah. I know a lot of community has a problem with the OT in and of itself, right? Because 100 million is basically a turn skip in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, I would have rather him over triggered and said, no, your turn is done, over healing twice.
Oh, why is that?
Because honestly, I actually enjoy the over trigger. It's that element of luck that says any deck can take down any other deck, even though a lot of people, like, sure, you lose to the over trigger, you're just like, man, I lost to the over trigger, or man, I lost to triggers, and like it happens sometimes. I like the luck aspect of Vanguard, but like I would have felt better of, oh hey, he OT'd versus no, I just healed twice. No, you had game 2 separate times and he just healed out.
Right. So it's just the fact that he did it twice, that he healed out of it, essentially.
He did it twice. Exactly.
I gotcha. Okay, like, I gotcha.
Again, yeah, absolutely. It's just...
But at least you still made it a top 4, so that's still kudos to you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is, again, the first clan that I ever played the game with, and then, you know...
To make it that far still.
Top at a big... Absolutely, dude. Like, I honestly... I was expecting to step on a Mega Colony or a Link Joker player, and I'd have been like, all right, there goes everything that I tried for. But now I get to be the one to show off my deck and be like, haha, this is why I did everything that I did.
No, definitely. So this is your first stop, right?
Yeah, this is the first top at a regional event like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll remember your first one for always. So congrats on that too.
I'll never forget a double heal on Murakami.
Next time it won't happen, you know. Next time you'll proceed further.
We hope, right?
Awesome. You know, after the tournament, you know, did you take some time to like learn from the event or maybe reaffirm some of your decisions? Like anything like that?
Honestly, I'm super glad that I had TikTok Worker in the deck. I'm super glad that I had 4 Karuntas in the deck. And I'm super glad that I remember I was debating, like, why do I have Grok Rock? Because I had been going at the local end of things of, oh, you don't care about Grok Rock, you don't miss your ride. And I'm like, no. Like, you know, there were many debates of like, oh, you could cut a history maker, or, you know, like there were, again, so many things. And it's like, you keep your deck not because like, oh, Grok Rock. I actually went into Grok Rock and pulled game twice.
Wow.
Grok Rock.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I had the setup of, hey, there's an Uluru in my hand. Your binds was either set up or had the grade 1 to grade 2, and while I didn't have Shlishma face up, it's still 3 force markers on 1 Vanguard, or on 1 rear guard, that you then have to deal with Vanguard swinging for buku numbers of plus 12 minimum.
Yep.
And you just go up from there, and then you get the counter charge anyway.
Gotcha.
Like, I ended up going 2 copies of the grade 3 because I was like, yeah, we're in the more aggressive meta where the stride up and all that stuff happens. Yeah. So, like, this is good to have it too. You can search it out through Lost Age, or Lost Gear Dog 8, my bad. You can search it out through Doggo, and then you can just do what you need to do. I tried fitting Elementaria in this deck, but everything was so tight that that didn't happen.
Right. Which makes sense. I've had decks like that, and I just played the 4-drop PG at that point. Yep.
Pretty much.
Sounds good. No, that's good that you reaffirm some of your decisions and card choices too, because that's always good to know, to reflect back to as well. Oh, you want to say something about the counter charger?
Oh yeah, no, I love this guy. Searchable through Rafana. I drew into him as off the Harmonics Messiah, which I was like super happy about. Like that was the heart of the cards moment for me. Like, no, it literally was because I'm like, okay, cool. What do I? Oh, cool. I drew counter charge. Gimme.
Yeah, and you
Fits
can
in a
proceed
lot
with
of
your
Gear
plays.
Chronicle decks, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
I
really
agree.
do I didn't really do the maiden play until the turn after, and I think I went into Grok Rock, in fact. So,
Oh wow.
like having the enormous amount of flexibility because I went into every single stride of my deck
Wow.
throughout the tournament. Like, yeah, Grok
So
Rock
everything
put in
served its
work,
purpose.
History Maker did the work. Yep, pretty much. I don't think I got into a third Schlishma, though I could be wrong and misremembering. But like, I didn't really have to think too much about my plays with this deck because I knew what I was doing. And
And that'll take
I
you
remember
far.
getting into pretty much know your deck and you'll go far. I remember building a premium build of this when the first wave of support came out. And then we got the second wave, and I'm like, oh, cool.
yeah.
I'm glad I grabbed all of these cards.
Right, all the
Because
stuff
now I just
beforehand.
augmented and kept playing. Yeah, I remember when I saw the ban of this guy, and I'm like, oh. Now I have to think. Now I have to figure out the riddle of what do I play.
Right. Which it's not too bad. You figured it out, so it's all good. Awesome. I was gonna say,
Indeed.
what I typically like to ask, especially for the viewers as a takeaway, what advice would you give to players that are wanting to top still, or maybe that can hold back a player in their eyes?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to play around. And what I mean by that is I am still a Gear Chronicle main through and through. I play Battle Sisters. I play Beast Deities. I picked up my Tober Maelstrom deck. I picked up Compound's Gridora deck. And honestly, it was fun playing other styles. But it actually did open my eyes to, I can help you play these decks now. And also, hey, look, I kind of can get in your mindset a little bit of, I'm playing Aquaforce. Okay, I see what you're playing, and I know sort of what's in your deck and what your game plan is.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those who, like, I have to play the deck. I have to lay down the cards, get blown back, get triggered out, and then do the same thing to my opponents.
Gotcha. So it's one of those things that give you the driver's seat of that other deck.
Yeah.
That gives you that mindset and the insight how it works. So you know how to play against it too. Awesome.
Yep.
And then the second thing was get some sleep.
Get some sleep and stay hydrated. You saw the big jug of water that I had at regionals, and honestly, by more like midway through game 3 of top 8, my water was gone, and I'm like,
yeah,
but, like,
there was
you
water
get so
outside.
nervous at like deck checks and such. Yep. I know, but I couldn't go anywhere, dude. But yeah, no.
Next time, just have somebody get you water.
Oh, absolutely, someone did. Sorry. Having a good network of people that you can rely on with Vanguard is going to push you to the next level. And knowing your community, because on day 2 of there are a few new players that I sat across from, and I'm like, go slow, take your time, read your cards. It's okay.
Yeah.
I never expected to top at this regionals. Like I said, I was like, I'm going to run into things. And even with that mindset, I also
Mhm.
was under the impression of I'm going to do my very best to try and top.
Gotcha.
And every single card in my deck was born from, oh, I'm testing, friend suggestion,
Yeah.
and other stuff of like, oh, I heard Cho talking about, oh, he put 4 heart thumps in his maiden deck.
Mhm.
Well, let me try that because Chrono Jet's here and it's still a good card, so I did.
Yeah.
Hey, you should play this, that, the whole 2 and 2. I played so many games of, oh, hey, and I made the decision to put 2 in. Oh, hey, the red OT, because now while you slept, while new cards came out, the world changed.
Yeah.
So now there's more options.
Gotcha. So
Don't
you're
sleep
saying
on
that
cards.
Yeah, I was gonna
for it.
say, so you essentially is using your community and also like experimenting with what other people are trying and even suggesting, like taking the advice and trying it for yourself and tweak from there.
Yep.
It's valuable input. Yeah, especially if you respect or have a strong second opinion from another player like Kevin Cho, for example, right? That really helps you with tweaking your build to get even better, like a little bit better progress.
Absolutely.
And stuff, so yeah, definitely take advice where, you know, it makes sense. That's a big one too. So, you know, just to wrap up a little bit with the interview at this point too, do you have any shout outs that you want to give out?
Gotta shout out Anthony Tobert. He is the Aquaforce player that has. I literally told him, I was like, I need you to fight me with Aquaforce and be as aggressive as you.
He's your go-to guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, if I can handle you, I can handle this regional, like no questions. And then my buddy Compound, who literally bought me back into the game with Gear Chronicle all those years ago, got me playing in the first place. And like, he's been someone who, like, we have our running gags and all that stuff of like, if you make it to second stride, because usually strides just kind of kill you on first stride usually. So like, it's really nice to see those two like being always in my corner. And then gotta shout out Kevin Cho, because I always saw him as a Gear Chronicle rival a little bit, because in the Card Fighters Underground, we did a clan leader thing like way back in like,
I remember that.
Like, all the way back in like before G ended.
Yes, and, I remember those.
Well, days. I lost, but like it was interesting to just be like, no, now you're on par with him, dude. And I take a lot of. He's a very good player in general, but you know, I think I've come from leaps and bounds of where I was to getting a top 4 at a regionals.
Yeah, definitely. You've seen the progression.
Oh,
you start believing for yourself too. No, that's a great shout outs. Any other shout outs you want to do before we wrap up?
Gotta give it up for Card Fighters Underground.
Yep.
My local shop. Cause the atmosphere there is really welcoming, very inclusive.
Yep.
And also it's a very nice shop to just go on Fridays and just kind of while out with all the card gamers and such.
Yep.
Being as accessible as it is in Chicago with the public transit that we have here, because your boy don't drive. You know, knowing that, oh yeah, we're all chill, cool people, and it's like, it's really nice to have a good community like Card Fighters Underground.
Yep. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time.
And then
oh, you got another one?
I will shout out one more. David Ashley, who is up in Wisconsin. This man plays Spike Brothers, and I wish I could fight up against him more. But he's always been like, oh yeah, no. Hey, if you need water, you need something, I got you, fam. I'm like, he was like, hey, if they don't like your sleeves, I got you. Don't even worry about it. Like, you know, it's one of those where it's like, nah, those are the solid Vanguardians that I would be like, nah, let's play.
Right.
And I'll shout you out a little bit because I remember the Chrono Fang game that we played.
Yes.
Back in Team League, remember? Or no, not Team League. Last regionals, where I was like,
it was like last year.
Hey, last year I was like, oh, hey, you know, and to get that amount of prestige from you as well, being, oh no, I was pressured as all get out, and I'm like, that's what I wanted.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no,
I still remember that game.
To you if I. Yeah, no, I'd still love to play you if we go on Discord or whatever. I wouldn't mind busting out remote fighting against you if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate that too, for real. Awesome. So, you know, thanks again for hopping on.
You could always fight against the deck.
That's true. That's very true. I have another Gear Chronicle player now in my head.
Yup. I will say that I am super happy that I have the OG Uluru sleeves that came out back in like Chi era, if I'm being honest.
Yes, that was back then.
Yeah, these are back in the day. And honestly, I'm glad I was able to with a flashy deck. Because like now I can be like, nah, this is my pride on display too.
Basically, yeah, your pride and joy. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yep.
Awesome. Well,
we're
wrapping it up for
main through and through.
I was gonna say, like, we're wrapping it up for today. So thanks again for even just having the opportunity to interview you and get a chance your mindset and also some of your matchups. That helps, you know, the viewers for themselves for the next BCS event that's coming up soon too as well. And so with that, amigos, on to the next one. See ya. Bye.